So why am I doing this? I'm starting this podcast because we all have a story and finances play a part in our struggles and successes. If we can learn from the many mistakes many others have made, we can make sure that more of us are successful. Like the quote says, to increase the chances of success, we must increase our failure rate. To be honest, I failed a ton. I will bring people from all walks of life, but mostly service members. If you have a story you would like to share, do not hesitate to reach out. From the go, like and subscribe to this podcast so many others can benefit. What's up, people? Today we have 18Otter from the social medias. You guys probably seen his page, and we're currently, this podcast is going to release after, but we are finishing up his meme comp, which has been freaking awesome. And thank you for allowing me to sponsor it. It's been a total blast. And I want to throw a shout out since I'm interviewing a Green Beret. I'm wearing my Green Beret shirt that I got from my brother-in-law from soccer school. That guy was great. I totally hecked that up with his sister. So I'm sorry. I always got to apologize. So, dude, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, the tournament's going really well, and I want to thank you. Oh no, I would say I wanted to thank you for being the title sponsor. For anybody that doesn't know, financial enabler here took it upon himself to be the title sponsor for this year's meme tournament. And I can't thank you enough, honestly, man. It was really a generous donation that you did, and I want to thank you for that.
Dude, and it's my pleasure because as I'm learning from wealthy people, is like, you know, the money is for us to enjoy it and to influence the world positively, right? Hopefully we're all good people with money, not bad people with money. And you're doing good stuff. You're put in the right places, and it's totally worth doing, right? So I appreciate that opportunity to do that. And man, there's so many good people in the sponsoring the competition and good people doing memes. I think that it's so valuable to see the meme comp because it shows we get to hear and see the opinions of our community, right, which are often silenced. So it's so great. It's so great, and I'll never forget, for that matter, not another SF meme page during COVID, like feeding people. I was like, a meme page is feeding people. This is awesome.
Yeah, that was wild. That was a wild time. He was another SF meme page was. For anybody that doesn't know, he was taking in donations and not figuratively, literally sending pizzas and sandwiches to kids. I say kids because I'm older. Sorry, infantry guys and to other units that were stuck on base, and they were sending photos of the food that they were receiving, and it was just atrocious. And he actually got in a lot of trouble for that.
Did he?
On the military side, because there's actually a law, a congressional law that says how much you're allowed to donate, both financially and physically, to active duty units. And he actually crossed that threshold a couple of times, and he didn't care. And he continued to do what was right. And, you know, you bring up the point about these meme pages right now, because they are a voice for these units from varying aspects. I have both soft, I have conventional, I have support, I have Marines, I have Canadian, I have international units.
Yeah.
And, you know, these funny themes, if you would, that we give to them, they come back with these, you know, simple photos or simple videos that are taken totally out of context, with applied in such a very simple way that relates to so many people, and to have that freedom of speech and that freedom of expression is so very important. And your support for that, thank you so much, Enabler. I really do appreciate it.
My pleasure. And please call me Jaime. I'm free to say that. And even though I'm still in, I'm so stoked to get out. But the financial leverage meant a lot to me, and the soft community means a lot to me. And I still remember when I thought about the name, I was like, this is perfect, right? Like
Yeah.
dream is to enable the operator, right? And I'm fortunate to be a part of a community, the Marsaki Euritics, that like we have a good reputation doing it, right?
Yeah.
So far, our guys keep crushing it everywhere they go, and it's awesome to now be able to enable people's finances to get people to wealthy, right? For crying out loud, we do so much that we might as well get out a little bit wealthier, right? Not broke.
It's so sad
Because we can't get paid
because
money.
yeah, we don't. But at the same, I see so many people squandering their money. I see so many people just taking their payments on the 1st and the 15th, if you would. And for lack of a better word, buying or investing in the immediate. And I mean, for my first 5 to 7 years of my career, I was the same way. Um, if you see something shiny, if you see that new piece of equipment, whatever else, you want to have it. And then it wasn't on my first deployment that I learned about, SDP, and then you learn about TSP, and then you learn about all these different ways to push money aside that you wouldn't miss, I guess is a good way to say it. You're used to CONUS money, and now you're getting OCONUS money, and in the forms of hazardous duty pay or combat pay, imminent danger pay, per diem, whatever it is. I've got guys going to countries really soon, and they're getting $100 a day over the course of 6 months.
Wow.
That's incredible money. And what are they going to do with it? They're going to pay off their truck. They're going to buy a new truck. They're going to do whatever else. No, dude. In my opinion, I have since in the last 10 years gotten a, for lack of a better word, wealth manager. I am not wealthy by any means, but I have a manager.
Yeah.
And all I do is I send them 10K, 15, 20K a year. And they send me a dividend check. They send me my returns. They show me how my money's being invested, how it's being grown. And it's money that I do not miss because I am used to being paid my base pay, my special pays, and everything else. And now when I'm deployed, you get a little bit of bonus. And I get it. These young E5s, E6s on the teams, they get a little bit of extra cash. What's the first thing they want to do? Hey, man, I need that new piece of gear. Bro, that SF gives you all the gear you need, and you don't need that new truck. I've got a truck from 2013. That's just the way it goes.
Dude, that is so true. And I've, especially in soft, right? Like there's a difference in certain places that they're under-equipped. Got it. But as soft guys is like, I remember guys buying JPCs while we were in MARSOC when we were getting issued the AVS.
Yep.
And I'm like, bro, the AVS is not perfect, but it's fine. It's just fine. Like you're literally complaining about minutia, right? Just so you could go spend $200 that you probably can't afford, right? Or especially 50-year-old you can't afford. And it's like, come on, a totally different change, right? But there's certain things that, like, that as I've matured, I no longer buy gear. But there's certain things that if you literally, it's irreplaceable, then buy it. And none of us are telling him to not, right? And you talk about you coming in your first 5-7 years that you blasted money. And I always like knowing this because, you're Otter now, a mature senior individual in soft. So what was your childhood like financially, and how did that affect you as you joined the military and the decisions that you made there after that?
I remember I grew up in what I would call middle American household. I never wanted for too much. I never thought that we were poor or we were wealthy or anything like that. I honestly didn't know too much about it. I knew that I knew that when my dad came home or my mom came home, there was dinner on the table. I knew that in the morning I was going to have breakfast before I went to school, and it was my job to do whatever at school and come back home and, report, everything was fine, so to speak. Um,
Right.
but my dad was a football coach for like 20 years, and he had me late in life. He had me when he was 36. Um, so we had a football coach salary plus my mom's salary. And I do remember having to make decisions like, oh, I'd really like this toy. I'd really like this candy, or I'd like to go out to eat tonight. And my parents saying, no, we can't do that. And I didn't understand why. I didn't care why. I just knew that they said no. Fast forward, my father, late in life, when he was 42, I believe, went back to nursing school, and he already had a master's in like biology. He had his MBA. So now he's got his registered nurse, license. And he was never too much on what's called the floor. He was never too long in the ICU. He got moved up to administration. So he started making better money. Then we started seeing more money.
Right.
And when I went to college, my dad actually started a college fund, if you would, that was literally just between he and I. And he said, hey, I'm going to put some money into this account for you to be able to take girls out, be able to have, car expenses, whatever else. But it's meant to be used for those reasons. And if you expend those reasons, then that's it. You're out of cash. I was like, okay, great. I've never had, quote, disposable income. I've never had an allowance or anything. So this is the first time ever. But it showed me that I had to have a plan, both to have the money, to spend the money, and to use the money to my greatest benefit. Now,
Right.
fast forward into the later years of college and into the military, that sort of went out of my brain. Because once you start making your own money, once you start making money into the military, you're like, oh, freedom. I am free from the confines of the family, and I can do whatever I want to do. Right? Wrong. And it took those years to realize, within those years, I remember, and this is embarrassing even to say on your podcast, but I'm going to say it anyway, because people can actually relate to this. I remember going to the
quick second.
Oh, sorry.
This is important. It's really important that I want people to hear what you've messed up so that they know that we are not perfect. They know we're not.
Oh, absolutely.
They can learn from our mistakes, right? Like we will absolutely too.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember going to the ATM and doing a check balance transaction to see I had $100 or whatever it was left in the bank. But I knew that I had overdraft. So I would take out $400 to $500 on that $100. Okay. To put $400 or $500 in my pocket, take the $20 overdraft fee, get paid on the 1st or the 15th, and just take that hit, right? Now, like in my head, I was like making sense of this. I was like, oh, I'm getting a cash day advance loan back before, there were like cash day advance loans going on. And, it wasn't very insidious like today's cash, check advance or anything like that. But that's how I validated it to myself. And then you would go to selection, you go to the SUT, SEER, whatever else, you go to the field. And I'd be there for months. And I'd come back, it'd be thousands of dollars, because I never touched it. Sitting in my bank account, I can go get all the liquor. I can go to all the bars. Yeah. I can go do whatever else, right? And after my first deployment, I realized that I didn't need to do all these things. So that's when I started lining up. That's that's when I started lining up the money managers, if you would, um, to, hey, look, I got paid on the first. Here's your cut. I'm going to take the rest over here to pay my rent, my bills, and everything else, just to live. And that's what I started doing. And they took a family member of mine, the people that I managed my money with. They took a family member of mine off a Navy retirement check and a Texaco retirement check, and they made that dude a millionaire by the time he was 75. And I was like, you know what? He started that when he was 40 something. I'm going to do it now. And they have been nothing but positive to me, because
That's great.
taking that money that you don't think you need, or I'm sorry, just, I got the money. Here it is. It's $1,000 for the sake of this conversation. Here's $200 right now. Bye-bye. And I got the rest to live off of right now. And that sort of, my parents didn't really train me to have money, because they didn't really come from a lot of money. My mother came from substantial money, in the agricultural world, but not enough to like flex on anybody. I do remember a friend of mine, real quick story. I'm sorry we get to the next point,
Oh,
but
please, I like that. I like it.
I remember a friend of mine telling me a story. He was in South Carolina. Yeah, he's an SF guy, but he was in South Carolina, and he was out and about with some friends. And this guy, who was just a friend of a friend of a friend, whatever, right? He says, "Hey, I'm going to pay for everybody's drinks tonight." Okay. And him being an SF guy was like, "Hey, no, fuck you. You're not going to pay for my drinks. I pay for my own drinks." And this guy was like, No. You don't understand. I come from not only like a lot of money, but like ridiculous money, like Disney money. Okay.
Wow.
To pay for y'all's drinks tonight is nothing to me. Okay. And it's what I can do to help out my friends, once or twice a week, just to like let them have a good time. And he's like, "No, like, still, like, fuck you. You're insulting me. Like, I'm a man. You're not gonna pay for my drinks." And it took another person to like come over to him and say, "Look, man, do you know who this guy is?" And he's like, "No, I don't know who the fuck this guy is." And it turns out he was a Vanderbilt, or like one of like US Steel, like family members. And he's like, "No, you don't understand. Like, every day this guy gets $100,000 deposited into some mythical account. He will never be able to spend his money. Just let him do what he wants to do." And that kind of money is truly like earth shaking to like me and to the people that I run around with. In Southern Pines, just a few days ago, I'm talking with a charity organizer, and we're not salesmen. We're military people.
Yeah.
We don't want to like, "Hey, give us money," But he's talking to these people that want to like write him checks for $100,000, and it's nothing for $10,000. Absolutely, drop of a hat. Just there's 10 grand. Have fun with your charity or whatever you're doing. These people want to help, and that kind of wealth is shocking to a lot of people.
It is.
It's shocking to me. And
It is.
I don't know that you and I, or the people that we try to influence, are ever going to be that sort of level, but it's starting them off on the right path. Would you not agree?
100%. And I think that I actually believe it's possible because of, I met this billionaire through a fellow CSO, an operator, a motorcycle operator guy. And this guy started his business trying to just pay off $1,000 couch for his family.
Wow.
This guy now makes multi-billion dollars a year.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I learned from this guy is that good people with money are just better people. Sorry, good people with money are just wealthy, good people. bad people with money are just crappy, wealthy people. So these people are just trying to give. And in reality, what I've learned is that we have to also be open to receiving, because it's like the world giving us something that cares about us, right? And this billionaire, one of the things that I heard him do is that he donated a college education for a Starbucks barista.
Oh, wow.
He drove by and he's like, "Why are you working here?" And she was like a 19-year-old girl. And he's like, went off, talked to his wife, came back. It's like, "Here, I'm paying for your school." He just felt it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that is incredible to be able to do that. To go from like wanting to pay for $1,000 couch to this, it's incredible. And there's generally a bunch of really good, caring people in the world with a ton of money, just as much as there's a bunch of really crappy people that are running over, steamrolling the poor, right?
Yeah.
And I think that they don't get enough credit, the people that are good and giving value, right? And I mean, it sounds like, your story, it shows how it influences you. And maybe I wonder if you had that moment, in that deployment that you're like, you heard your dad and you're like, "Man, I always knew this." And it kind of like, it hit you that you got to come and put it all together. And I'll ask, were you a Green Beret from the beginning? Were you 18 X-ray, or you had a job beforehand?
No, I was not an X-ray. Yeah, I was on an X-ray. Beforehand, I was just a regular 68 whiskey. However,
Okay.
I got to my first unit / duty station, and I knew immediately I did not need to be there. I never deployed with them. I never.
Yeah.
I think I did like one field training exercise with them, whatever else, and I immediately dropped. I think within the first year, actually, I dropped a selection packet on my platoon sergeant, and they should not have let me go because I was new to the unit. I was motivated. I'm doing air quotes for everybody. I was a motivated, specialist at the time. I was a good soldier, and they should not have let me go, but they did. They did let me go to selection, and I got picked up. And for that reason, I call myself an X-ray, because I didn't have any real Army experience. But I was not true to the definition an X-ray. It was, I don't know necessarily that I heard, my dad or anything. I knew that my way of life was not sustainable. And now that, I've got kids and everything else, it's much more apparent to me that something else has to go on. And after losing grandparents and getting inheritance money, my dad wants to start giving me some of my grandparents' inheritance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, hey, Dad, look, here's the deal. You'll get a kick out of this." I said, "I've got my LLC and I've got my S corp. What I can do is I can bill you as a 1099 contractor, or you can bill me as a 1099 contractor. I can take in that money and I can pay my kids / your grandkids. It's 12,000 whatever dollars is a year, tax free, and I can transfer that money to the kids. Oh, and by the way, what I can also do then, I can I can put my kids, your grandkids, on my business cards as an authorized user. Then I take their money out of their accounts and I pay off certain business expenses on that card. Now, by the time that they're 18, they've got a 730 credit score, 750 credit score.
Right.
So now I'm building their credit and everything else. And oh, by the way, they've had this amount of money donated per year. And my dad is terrified of that. He thinks he almost thinks it's illegal. I'm like, no,
Right.
it's not illegal.
Yeah.
It's totally legal.
and that's I say 100% that I can see how he feels that. So many people,
Oh yeah.
uh, like the other one, which I hope your father has, is a trust, right, to protect you guys from probate and estate
Yeah.
taxes, and it's like all of this is legal.
Yeah.
All the things you literally can throw something at the wall that is financial, and it's people are like it's a scam, and I'm like no, there's scammers is
Yes.
legit, right?
Yeah.
Now, anything can be twisted if you find the wrong person. So that's why, like, some people like you and I, right? You vet the people that you work with. I vet the people I work with, right? And it's like, guys, this is legit. You may not like it. It may not be for you, but this is legit, right? And it's awesome that you're doing that. So for everybody, this is a free lesson in parenting. Maybe not in how to raise your kids, but how to financially set up your kids, which is
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The when we set up our LLC, and also we have an S corp, and we have a separate business that we have filed as a DBA, doing business as for everybody out there. Um, my wife did not, and still does not, like using the business card for luncheons, dinners, whatever else. I'm like, look, we talked about some business stuff here. This is legal and legitimate. And my CPA is a retired Green Beret too. So
nice.
he sees what I'm doing. Uh, he sees how my money is being spent, and he knows how to say it in a way to not only lead me down the right path, but I'm like, hey, look, I did this for whatever. And he goes, oh, well, it sounded like you did X, Y, and Z in support of your business. I'm like, yeah, yeah, absolutely did. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And some people, including my wife, including my parents, whatever else, like you said, this sounds shady. This sounds illegal, whatever. No, it's not. It's totally within the tax code. And hating, loving, or, indifferent. Donald Trump said the same thing to Hillary Clinton in the 2015 debates, whatever it was. I think that was right here when Hillary Clinton said, Donald Trump didn't pay anything in taxes this year because he uses the tax code to his benefit. He went, yeah, I do. And you know what?
Yeah.
You've been a senator for how many years now? You haven't changed the tax code because your beneficiaries do the exact same thing that I'm doing, which is not pay income taxes and not pay a certain amount of taxes. Because at the end of the day, anybody who flexes on you and says, oh, well, last year I paid $20,000 in income tax. Well, guess what? You're not doing the right thing. Okay.
Sucker.
Because income tax is theft. And I'm going to say that out loud right now.
Yeah. And I'm going to expand on that because I'm glad you said it, because I said it in the last podcast. I'm going to say it again because I'm going to beat this drum. I'm on this theme. Again, people say that taxation is theft, right? And I expand on that and I ask people, okay, so if there was a thief outside of your house with a gun sitting in his car, is that theft? And they're like, well, no, it would be theft when they came in. And I'm like, so you're telling me that it becomes theft when they take your money? You're just letting them rob you.
Yeah.
And guys like you and I, we don't pay taxes. So taxation is not theft because we have our wall, we have our barrier, we understand the tax code. And we're using it to our advantage. So
exactly.
Guys like you and I are telling people is like, hey guys, if you continue down this path, paying these taxes because you don't understand it, you are getting robbed. And this is what happened. If all of a sudden 90% of Americans did what you and I do, the tax code would change overnight, and you, me, and all the rich would get taxed a ton of money.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that and everybody has the answer when it comes to like income tax or anything else. My opinion is we need to get away with it. And I'd like to hear your opinion on this, which is if, let's say tomorrow, the IRS came out and said, we're dissolving the building. We're getting rid of every IRS agent. There'll be no more income tax, but we're going to raise sale tax by 2%, and certain high demand items will be raised by 3%. Is that something that's like feasible to sustain? So the government needs certain amounts of money for things that we hold. I would say with things that we take for granted,
Right.
interstates, roads, fire, police. I would like to see healthcare. I would like to have the debate later. Whatever.
Yeah.
Um, the Department of Defense, all this kind of stuff. All these things are funded, and I would like to see income tax go away, sales tax go up a couple points. That way we're taxing. Tourists and quote unquote illegal immigrants, however you want to define that,
Yeah.
and everything else. What is your kind of professional opinion on something like that? Is that
So I think this is my take. I think that sales tax only would be awesome because it would incentivize us to be frugal, right?
yeah, okay,
But is it feasible? I don't think so, because if all of a sudden all the wealthy were frugal, we would lose a lot of money. So I think I don't know what the right answer is. To your point, the other thing is that the top three obligations the government has is Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Those are going to continue to expand, and we're going to have to pay a lot of money. So taxes are bound to go up. So would I like to have something different? Yes. And this is the problem. And I just got back from Spain, and it hit me like a brick wall after realizing, because I spent a lot of time talking to people there, and I realized the issue with American taxes is that we are so independent that we don't want government helping us.
True.
Conversely, our government programs aren't as good. In Spain, they may get taxed 40%, but they see the value of their taxation. So granted, I don't think that would work in America, because America would be like, well, I don't care, this is a government program, and we like shun them, right?
Yeah.
It's a hard balance. I don't think it's right. I think taxes will go up. I think sales taxes should go up because the advantage to sales tax is the only way to do a true high income earner tax, right? If a tax bracket for a billionaire, he's just going to do what we're doing, leverage the tax.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you say, hey, buddy, you go buy a boat, a yacht, I'm going to tax you 50%.
Yeah.
That works, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
let's say if all of a sudden there was a tax on jet fuel, people would probably fly in their private jets a little less, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
And it's a complicated trickle effect, and it goes to my conversation I have with people on personal finance. It's so symbiotic. It's not as clear cut as like, we need to lower taxes. And I'll say, no, but you want to lower taxes, but you also want Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So shut up, you know? And then the worst part is our veteran community. They're like, we need to lower taxes. I'm like, yeah, but you also want to have your 100% disability and permanent and total and permanent. So something's got to give.
Yeah. And one of the things that a lot of people forget, forget when they have this type of discussion, they point to a lot of Northern and Eastern European countries. And they'll say, oh, look over there. They've got healthcare for all. And they've got this housing system for the homeless. And they've got a jail system where people are essentially living in dormitories with reformation programs. And they are doing rehabilitation programs for violent offenders, blah, blah, blah. Awesome. Great. Do you know who they fucking call when they get in trouble? It's the United States of America. Unfortunately, however you want to define that, be it war, be it catastrophe, disaster, whatever else, those countries rely heavily on us to come in with heavy machinery, manpower, firearms to quell said event. And I went to Romania recently, and they were flexing on, oh, we've got college education for everybody. Why doesn't America? I go, what? I showed up with 3 Connex boxes And you guys said that I showed up with more ammunition than your entire fucking military. So
Yeah.
what were you talking about? This is like just one ODA. Homie, if I brought 5 ODAs in here, we took over your country in a day and a half. What are you talking about? Like, they are nowhere near our strength capability when it comes to military power, and everybody in the world knows it. So they have to attack us. I forget. I'm sorry. That's a whole different discussion. What I'm saying is they rely on us, and that's one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest advantages to NATO. Is if you join NATO, America has your back.
Got your back.
And we got it, man. We got you. And hey, go enjoy your free healthcare where you have to get 2 to 3 months to get a chest X-ray for your bronchitis, where you have to wait, or in Canada where you have to wait weeks on end to get a CT for your broken hip. Bro, I get it. Our healthcare system is fucked up. Our military system is overinflated. I do not doubt. I'm not going to argue any of that. What I'm going to say is, you have to understand where all your money is going. And it's one thing to just be, oh, well, I don't want to pay income tax. I don't either. And I'm not going to. But no, we have to pay for certain services. And that's why I'm all support. That's why I support the sales tax thing.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good move, and you see it in Florida, right? It benefits from tourism and sales taxes, and
absolutely.
I think it should go up. It should go up, even if they, like you said, they went up by 1% federally. I'm sure it would be better. People would feel better about it because then they would spend less. And going to your point about Europe, and I have this pending conversation with a cognitive Marine, that I read somewhere that the number 2 expenditures in the U.S. Department of Defense is keeping forces abroad and the nuclear weapons program, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, and this is the argument that I come from a very, very, very liberal family. They're liberal from being South America. It's just carried over.
Yeah.
Guys, you love Europe. It's awesome. But Europe is able to look at Russia and be like, don't cross over. You see, there's this big old army and all these nuclear weapons right here. They don't have to fund that. And that allows them to do things, which, again, is to our detriment, right?
It is.
Let's be real. Like, the world is free because of us. Sorry, maybe not. I'm not going to go to that point. The world has more freedoms because of us. And it allows those countries to be able to put their money elsewhere. That's truth.
Yeah.
And we can't downplay that,
And I think that the same thing is going on at the individual household level. Okay. You hear the same thing. Think global, act local. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have the same thing with finances in your own household, right? So I'm going to live in this neighborhood that has an HOA that's going to maintain my property value because of certain standards and ethics, whatever you want to call it. I hate the fucking HOA, but whatever. Your money is going to something that is investing in yourself, and whether you hate it or not, just like the DoD, just like the Department of State, just like the IRS, whatever else, your money is going to something that's going to maintain your way of life. And if you don't like our way of life, I highly recommend you go to certain parts of Africa. I highly recommend you go to India and see, your money, your dollar may go really far, but I would welcome the discussion when you return about your quality of life, your medical assessment, your ability to feel safe, if you want to call it that. Central and South America is a great example. Belize, Chile, Colombia, all of these places. You go down there, you will live like a fucking king. Okay? But the instant that there's any sort of hostility and you go for your gun, guess what? There's no gun. Guess what? The police don't care about you because the what do they call them? The bombardier or whatever. The policia, they don't care about you, man. They don't.
Yeah.
Unless you got your own private security. Just like the people, and again, this is a bit of a tangent, I'm sorry. Just like the people in Washington say you don't need your own gun. Yet their entire security details have multiple guns.
Yeah.
You know,
It's you know,
it's
it's
such a
funny,
weird dichotomy.
so I'm Colombian, right? I was born in Colombia. I
Yeah.
have an uncle that's been captured by the FARC for a year. I have a cousin that was killed by a car bomb. So when people in my family are like, why does America need guns? I'm like, did you guys forget? Did you guys forget? It's like,
Yeah.
it's literally within
Not
our,
remember?
yeah, like it could happen any moment, any moment. And I think that it will continue to delay those circumstances simply because majority of our population is armed, which is great, right? And it has pros and cons. And I saw it again going back to Spain, incredible country. I'll tell everybody to travel there. But you see a line in Europe of the really wealthy and the people that can only travel on the national holidays. It's pretty.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's like these people are literally work, and they may love their job as a waiter a lot more than ours do, but again, their quality of life is pretty drawn in the ground. It's pretty apparent. They're paying a lot of taxes, and they depend on the government. Many Americans don't depend on the government, and that's awesome. I love that. And granted, right now, you and I depend on the government, and we're thankful for our jobs. We
No,
don't downplay that, right? It's given us great opportunities, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it. We got super deep. Listen, I have a question for you on
Yeah. Please.
on your finances. Do you feel that you have maximized your HDIP bonuses per diem in your time in the military? And if so, what is a benefit that you've seen of that?
I would honestly, I would say no, because typically,
Okay.
typically, well, let me back up. I say no because looking back, I would always say that I wish I had done more. Okay. So that's why my immediate answer would be no.
Okay.
Again, going back, a lot of my money is allocated up at the front to go towards investments, going towards savings, whatever else. I don't keep a lot of money in savings, per the advice that back when I was senior Delta, my then junior Delta, he was a CFA, and
Oh wow.
yeah, he joined, and said, I just want to change his pace, whatever else. But he said, why would you keep money in savings? He's like, how much money do you have in savings? I was like, I don't know, like $25,000, $30,000 in savings. And he's like, why? I was like, I don't know, just to have liquid money, I guess, in case something happens. He goes, his advice to me was add up all of your expenses, all of them, okay, that you pay every month. And, plus or minus food, whatever else, right? Add up all your expenses per month, multiply it by 6, and then that's what you need to have in savings liquid. And I was like, okay, so just have X amount of, thousands of dollars. And I was like, so what with the rest? He goes, fucking invest it, make it work for you.
Best.
He said, wait,
Right.
He's like, where's your money? And of course, USAA. He's like, what's your savings return? I was like, I don't know, 1-2%.
Yeah.
He's like, that's atrocious. That's embarrassing. He said, you should be embarrassed by that. And I was, when he laid out what was going on. And that was another reason to get, money into, or more money into SDP, TSP, HDIP, all that kind of stuff. I look back on all my trips and everything else. I wish I had done more. But at the same time, I think I've done pretty well. My issue is when I'm TDY, just like right now I'm TDY. I know what my per diem is. Okay. I'm like, okay, so I'm getting paid X amount of dollars to be living somewhere else right now. So I'll go to the steakhouse and get a filet, whatever else, and it's $60. I'm like, well, per diem here is $69 or $80. I'm like, I'm okay. When in retrospect, I get back home and I'll say, shit, I could have gotten, a loaf of bread from a bakery and just, eaten for,
Yeah.
6 days and saved all that money. I'm like, well, at the same time, I got that money, so in that sense, no. When I'm downrange, I'm getting fed 3-4 times a day. All I'm worried about is operations. That's all I'm worried about. I'm not TDY. I'm not, out and about doing whatever else. And I'm a lot better on deployments. I'll save tons of money. And then when I come home, I want to, go on a $10,000-$15,000 trip with the family. And I think that's deserved to an extent.
Totally.
Family time is the most important time. But then again, you get back from that trip and you're like, oh shit, that was $10K. That was $10K that could have been, pushed in a savings account somewhere. And in the next 10 years, that could have been, $20,000, whatever it is. I'm like, oh shit. But so I, I'm not doing everything perfect. And I don't expect anybody listening to this podcast to be doing anything perfect. But I tell you what, man, if you are on day 10, 11, 12, waiting on day 15 to get paid, and you don't know what to do with yourself until then because you've spent all your money, that's the fucking wrong answer, dude. That's absolutely the wrong answer. If you got in the military and you've never been paid before, you came from a poor family or a less than intelligent money management family, and all of a sudden now you're getting, I don't even know what privates pay this day, $2,000 a month, whatever it is.
Steady income, so it's irrelevant.
It's steady income for them, and it's money for them, and you've never seen it before. And now you've got it, and you think, oh, well, I'm just going to go do whatever. And a part of me says, hey, man, go do that. Go do that for a year. Go do that for a year and a half, whatever it is. But you have to plan for the future, because here I am, I'm not in my 40s yet, but I will be very soon. And, before I know it, I'll be in my 50s, and I'll be like, oh, well, what am I going to do? I get my 20 years, here pretty soon. What then? Do I stay in? Do I get 30 years? And instead of getting 50%, do I get 75%? Do I get 100% disability on top of this? So it becomes this like war game within your head of what you're going to do for the next 30 to 40 years you're on this planet after you retire. And to me, I have seen, well, here it is. I've got an uncle who retired out of the Air Force at like 25 years or something. That dude, this guy sometimes works at Home Depot. He sometimes works at this other place. This motherfucker is traveling. He's got, RV. He's doing his thing. He's living his life. He has for the last 20 years that I've known him, since he was retired, been living some of the best years of his life off a retirement check.
Yep.
And that's because he was smart with money. And guys that would then see their retirement check as a pay cut instead of their liberation, if you would. I think it's wrong, because those of us that are used to living paycheck to paycheck, it's frustrating. And then after 20 years, you're like, oh, well, how did it get to this point? Motherfucker, what do you mean how did you get to this point? You've been doing it for 20 years. You know exactly what you did. You know exactly what you did. Just own it. And people have been telling you for years and years and years, put your money in a TSP. get it out of what is the G fund, whatever it is, get it out of that bullshit, put it into something else, take a risk on the market, move your money around appropriately. Don't just put it in there, set it and forget it. Put it in there, watch your money, get somebody to manage it for you. Because guess what? The military, the army, does not give a fuck about you. You are a paragraph and line number. And once you retire, they will replace you with someone else. Period.
Yep.
If you do not take care of yourself, you have no one to blame but yourself. And that's the unfortunate truth.
No, and you're totally right. And man, and like going to a per diem thing, I wish we all saw it, that it realize or accept it's variable income.
It
It's
is.
still income. If we were like, you know what? I have my per diem, $86 times 10, 860. I'm going to save 10%. If you save 10% of our per diem trips, you're about to get wealthy off that, right?
Yeah.
And, just take care of it and be able to retire and enjoy life. But again, clearly you're doing amazing because you're able to afford a $10,000 trip, but you still have the money you're allocating. It's a balancing act that most people don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've created this fortune. You're fortunate.
I have. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I always say, like, we're fortunate to have been born in America, be this smart, come from X family, and for that matter, I know a lot of people from bad families, from bad countries that are incredibly wealthy now. So you can create that fortune. And how do we take care of our future while enjoying it? And, I go back to like the money manager thing. I am at this point at 37, I am not a fan of financial advisors. With that being said, my only reason I have wealth is because I had one when I was young, right? I am now past that point, right? That I don't ever need them. But that's why I tell people, do whatever it takes. If you need to pay somebody 1% and that is how you get to wealthy, do it. But if eventually you figure out how to do it without, do it. You have to find what works for you, your family, to be able to end up wealthier to create this situation, right? Which not most people, I've been talking to some E3s that are crushing it. I spoke to this E3, $20,000 in the credit card, in his bank account, hasn't even finished his AIT. And I'm like, buddy, you're going to crush it. You're going to fucking crush it. Just allocating a little bit. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, bro, totally doable. And anybody can get wealthy in the military. And we all know it. People are like, I don't know any millionaires in the military. I was like, you're not looking. They're all out there.
Oh, they're there. They're absolutely there. They're absolutely there. And I also want to just go on record as saying this. Once you get out of the military, that's not your signal to stop. And what I mean is, once you get out of the military, if it was at 3 years or 25 years, it doesn't matter. Don't think you need to get a contract position or a GS position, doing the same fucking thing that you were doing. Homie, go back to school, go do something different. Go learn, I don't fucking know. Learn how to fly a helicopter. I don't give a shit. Just do something different is my suggestion. Because it's absolutely no secret that, I'm trying to get in medical school, and I'm sure that's going to work out for me. I'm really excited about that. But a lot of these people want to say, once I get out of the military, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with X, Y, and Z amount of my time that I have. Dude, go do something challenging. You know how many people that I've met at my age, and they're like, oh, do you want to go to medical school now? Do you know how hard that is? And blah, blah, blah. For 20 years, I've been a Green Beret, and I've done some amazing things. And then to the really old timers that are in like their 70s, I'll tell them, hey, I'm going to make you a deal. Okay. I'm going to roll back the clock on you right now, and I'm going to make you 35. Okay. But the deal is you have to go to medical school and you have to become a surgeon. You want to do it? And they go, oh, yeah, it's a really good point. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
just go after what you want to do. My my wife was wanting to do something new, and she's younger than me. But she didn't. She has a master's degree in something else, and I was like, why don't you go to physical therapy school? Go get your doctorate in physical therapy. And she, oh well, I don't know if I want to do blah blah blah. Guess what? She got in. Guess what? She's graduated. Guess what? She's doing the damn thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. Oh, I don't know how much time I have left. Dude, just do something different. You don't need to have a coffee company. You don't need to have a t-shirt company. Just do something that you like to do. Just do something you like to do. You want to be a beekeeper?
Yeah.
Be a good beekeeper. Guess what? I don't give a shit. You want to go manage a Chick-fil-A? I don't care. Because you got the experience to do it. Do it, maybe. Just do it and be good at it. And then you've got you've got two incomes at that point. You've got, not only do you have TRICARE for life, so you don't need health care. Now you've got something new. You're working with young kids, you're mentoring them, you're giving them life experience. And dude, it's so rewarding. When I was talking to like some of these younger kids, when I was getting my prerequisites done, they were, lower enlisted or whatever else they were doing. I got to mentor them and just give them my experience on things. And I wasn't, oh, this is the way you need to do it. It was like, look, this is what I did. This is what you can do.
Yeah.
And these are the benefits and risks that I have seen with said choice. And dude, it is so fulfilling as a father, to see these kids, I use kids loosely, to see these kids doing something great. Because I'll tell you what, man, I wish I'd had someone like me my first time through college.
Yeah.
And that would have been great. But here I am being able to put in a position to not only give back, but receive something fulfilling. So
Yeah. And to your point of like on retirement, go do something meaningful for you and hopefully has income, is that people always act as like, oh, I can't do blahs if it was hard. I can't do whatever. And I'm like, bro, you've done incredibly hard things. Even if like the minutia when you were an E3 having to clean a room that you didn't want to clean in a day you didn't want to do it, you still did it. So all of these annoyances, frustrations you went through them. What makes you think you can't become wealthy? What makes you think you can't go to med school? What makes you think you can't create a company? You can do whatever you want. You just have to say, okay,
you can.
Today, from here on forth, I am this person. Go do it. Like I was still
absolutely can.
This kid's badass. He was a recon Marine. Now he's going, he just got picked up to be a Green Beret. And I'm like, bro,
oh, great.
You are the definition of a person that can do whatever you want. You've done 2 hard things and you're not even 24. The world's your oyster.
Yeah, man.
Like I couldn't imagine going through, I would have never done it at that age. I wasn't prepared, but he done it twice.
These same kids they'll doubt themselves. I don't know that it's necessarily doubt. I think it's more just humility. And they understand that hubris is going to get in the way of what they want to do. And honestly, man, that's the kind of guy that I want, or gal that I want.
Yeah.
I want the guy that's going to be a little reserved on the risk.
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry. I want the person that's going to understand the risk, not be reserved on the risk. I want the person that's going to understand the risk and say, look,
right,
if I do this, I might fail. But you know what? If I do, c'est la vie. Here's my next step. And dude, that's you don't think I'm fucking not terrified to go to medical school?
I'm fucking terrified.
Of course.
I'm terrified. I'm
Yeah.
going to be in school with like 20-year-old kids that have no fucking experience. And I tell them about Afghanistan, or I tell them about Syria, or I tell them about Africa, or I tell them about dive school, free fall, whatever else. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, that sounds so fucking cool. You're basically Call of Duty. I'm like, shut up. No, I didn't do it.
No.
I've said this so many times in my lives, and I'm going to say it again here. I did not join the military out of patriotism. I joined it because it sounded fucking cool. Okay?
Yeah.
That's
I agree.
100%. That's 100% selfish reasons. Okay? Somebody said, "Hey man, there's a war going on. Do you want to be a part of it?" And I was like, "Fuck yes." And they went, "Well, America was attacked." I don't care. Whatever. Well, I mean, I cared. I got it. But I was like, "Yeah, look, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Where's the hard stuff?" Well, after I got my first unit, I was like, "Where's the hard stuff?" Yeah. But
yeah,
that's what it is, man. And if you want to do it, you will do it. If you doubt yourself 100%. And you go, "Well, I don't know, man. I'm just going to tiptoe into this and see if I can do anything," you're going to fucking fail. I'm sorry, you are.
Yep, I agree.
If you're the manager of a car wash station and you fucking bust your ass before you know it, you're general manager. Before you know it, you're a regional manager. Before you know it, another 15 years have gone by, and you've gotten 2 checks for income. Bro, who cares? Just fucking do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
man.
agree, dude. It's so true. And I'm going to have to send you a video that I listen to sometimes. This guy called Art Williams. Just do it. And we can do whatever we want. And, we're here to encourage people to do it, to pursue whatever dream. And any dream is just as good, right? If they want to be a Green Beret, great. You want to just be the best platoon sergeant in the infantry, go do that too. I don't care. Just be damn good at it. Do it with passion. Care about your people. You're going to be fine. And we'll respect you the same, right? Like, people think that once you get too soft, you look down on conventional. And if I meet people like that, I was like, you're immature. You don't belong here. Well, maybe they do belong here, but you're immature. You need to grow up.
Absolutely.
There's a role to it all, right?
I met tons of support kids that'll say the same thing. Oh, I don't know if I want to go to selection. Then fucking don't go to selection. Be a fucking good support kid. Be a fucking good senior NCO who becomes a first sergeant, who becomes a sergeant major in sport, and just fucking be good, man. Like, I don't fucking care if you're on my team. If you want to be on my ODA, you'll do it. If you don't want to, you don't want to do it. And guess what? We're still going to go have a beer together. We're still going to retire together. Right. We're still going to get the same retirement pay. I don't care. Okay? If you want to look back on your life with regret, guess what? There's tons of fucking Green Berets that look back on their life with regret as well. It's the fucking same thing. A lot of these guys say, I wish I had never done it. Yeah. Group fucking treated me wrong. The regiment's fucking broken. Blah, 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 blah. It's the same on both sides, dude. Yeah. Guess what? There's fucking operators at the unit and at ST6 and everywhere else think the same damn thing. Going to selection is not going to fix your fucking life. Yep. And going to hell, another unit's not going to fucking do it either. But you know what? If you fucking bitch for 20 years of your life in a unit where you hate yourself, you are to blame. Guess what? When you get out and you're bitching about your fucking retirement and your disability check and how you can't get a job or you don't want to do the work to get another job, guess who's to blame? You.
100%. Dude, that is so true. Man.
Sorry, man. Sorry. That was my tangent.
No,
sorry.
It's good. It's good. It's really good tangents because, again, we're here to share this. We're just trying to share people and share our experiences and give them our thoughts. And I almost feel like we almost didn't wrap it up, but I don't want to make the podcast too long. But maybe we'll do it again. Dude,
no, absolutely.
I would ask you if you have any closing words on top of this like awesome message that you just sent to people.
Oh man, I don't know how I could top that.
No, you can't. I don't think you can. Maybe you should just leave it.
No, I'll just reiterate, man. Look, at the end of the day, if you succeed or fail, you can look in the mirror and you know who's to blame. If you didn't do well on an assessment, if you didn't do well with the
Yeah.
girl or the guy or whatever else, guess what, man?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's you. And that's not to say you're weak or you're strong or you're lack of or you're whatever else. But you know what you did. You know what you didn't do.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
you hold all the cards, man. You do. You're in a country where
Yeah.
you have any opportunity. Any opportunity. And to squander it is abhorrent. And you know what? I'll just leave it there.
I totally agree, and we're fortunate to be in America. And if we're gonna rave about it, we might as well live like it. And dude, this was a true honor to talk to the Otter.
Thank
It
you.
was a blast. We might have to do it again. So
Hey, you
thanks
know what?
again
Fuck
for your
that. Thank
time,
you
and,
so much. Thank you so much for being the title sponsor of my meme tournament, by the way. I really do appreciate
hell
it.
yeah,
I really do
hell
appreciate
yeah.
it.
Thanks, man. So cool. That's it for this one, and I'll see you guys soon. This podcast is not financial advice, and it only represents the opinions of those participating. Our goal is to get you to your version of financial independence. Please follow and like on every platform.